This is the way.
Greetings, and once again, welcome to the Chopperfett channel. My name is Brett, and we make motorcycle related videos and vlogs in our little spot here on YouTube. Earlier this year, Harley Davidson released details about the Sportster S. I'll save you some time by adding some chapters to this video in case you want to skip over the specs for the Sportster and get to why you are really here, the comparisons. Yes, that's right, comparisons part 2. Thanks to subscriber and viewer feedback, I decided to make one more video highlighting the best competition that I may have failed to mention in the first one. But first, we must set our baseline with the Sportster S, and how can this bike keep pace with the competition? First is the power. This miniature beast packs 121 horsepower with 94 foot-pounds of torque. This is very similar to the VROD of old, but with more grunt off the line. Like the VROD and most recently the Pan America, the Sportster S comes with a 1250cc liquid-cooled power plant. Harley is starting to realize what it takes to compete in the market, and that is very exciting. It is mated to a 6-speed, belt-driven transmission with just an overall weight of 502 pounds. 502 pounds with this power will be insanely quick. The fuel tank is 3.1 gallons with hopes of 45 to 50 miles per gallon, with a seat height of 29.6 inches, which appears to be about the industry standard for these items. The suspension is soft-tail-like with a monoshock in the rear and inverted forks up front. The higher seating position allows this bike to lean over at a staggering 34 degrees left and right. It comes with tire pressure monitoring, ABS, traction control, ride modes, USB charging, cruise control, keyless ignition, and a 4-inch color TFT display, all as standard. This is an amazing offering from Harley Davidson. But now let's go ahead and explore some of the competitors. Our first comparison today comes from Indian Motorcycles with the Scout and Scout Bobber. In our previous video, we compared it to the FTRS, but there was a lot of attention for these bikes. Let's start with the entry price of $10,999 for the Bobber and $11,999 for the Scout. Both of these bikes are powered by a liquid-cooled V-twin pushing 100 horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque, coming in at a weight of 555 pounds for the Bobber and 561 pounds for the standard Scout. The power is delivered through a 6-speed manual transmission, and like the Sportster S, is also belt driven. The fuel tank will hold approximately 3.3 gallons of fuel and should be making around 46 miles per gallon between fill-ups, which will put you well over the 100 mile mark. The seat height for the Indians are both 25.6 inches off the ground. This was one reason on my first comparison that drew the FTRS as the rider position is more similar. The lower seat height is more of a cruiser triangle here, but the bike still looks similar despite that. The Indians lean at 29 degrees left and right and have a more traditional setup for the suspension with a dual rear shock and telescopic non-inverted front forks. Some of the features of the Indian do include a digital tachometer, odometer, and speedometer. ABS is an option, but it will come in at an additional cost of $900. When you compare these bikes to the Sportster S, they both come up short in most categories. Which one is a better choice is completely up to you. With the savings on the Indians, you can greatly enhance them both and bring them up to par with the Sportster S specs, while even saving a few coins in the process. The value option in today's comparison comes from Honda with the Rebel 1100. This little motorcycle shocked the world last year when it was announced. No one was expecting a Rebel to have 87 horsepower and 98 foot-pounds of torque out of a liquid-cooled 1084cc motor, all while coming in at a subpar $10,000 price tag, $9,299 to be exact. The Rebel weighs in at 487 pounds wet, which equates to a very impressive power to weight ratio. The power is operated by either a 6-speed manual transmission that comes standard, or a DCT automatic for $700 upcharge. The fuel tank is 3.6 gallons, and the average miles per gallon seems to put it around 41 miles. Like the other bikes, over 100 miles is sustainable, but don't expect much more beyond that. The Rebel sits at a seat height of 27.5 inches, putting it in between the Scouts and the Sportster S. The shocking statistic about the Rebel was the lean angle is only about 28 degrees left and right, which is typical of most cruisers, but in this comparison it has the lowest lean out of any of the bikes. Some of the features on the Rebel would be that it comes standard with ABS brakes, cruise control, USB terminals, wheelie control, LCD instrumentation, and LEDs all around. The amount of technology and power you get in a sub $10,000 package is really impressive. Coming in about $5,000 less, it still boasts many of the same features that you will find on the Sportster S. All of our options today have come in much less than the Sportster, allowing you to upgrade your motorcycle to be more unique and even more powerful than the Sportster S. Our last competitor today will take us to the other extreme with the Ducati Diavel and X-Diavel, which are basically the same bike with a few minor differences. Let's get the price out of the way first and foremost, which comes in at a staggering $20,295, a full $5,000 above the Sportster S. What are you getting for all that extra coin exactly? The power of the Diavel is generated from its 1260cc liquid-cooled motor, putting out an astonishing 159 horsepower and 95 foot-pounds of torque, all made to a 6-speed manual transmission. The weight is also on par with the Sportster S, coming in at 514 pounds wet. Stock for stock and in a straight line, the Diavel will definitely fly away from the Harley. The fuel tank on the Diavel is 4.5 gallons, and most users report averaging about 45.6 miles per gallon. Driven nicely, you might approach the 200 miles per tank, but let's be real, you aren't going to hold back from that power. The Diavel sits up at 30.7 inches, which is the tallest of our options here today. The higher overall height of the motorcycle allows this motorcycle to lean over at a staggering 41 degrees. While this number is outstanding, the fact that few realize is that it has a 240 rear tire in the back, which means making that lean angle a little bit more difficult to achieve. The Diavel also has ABS as standard, as well as utilizing it into the corners. Other options include ride modes, LED lighting, variable valve timing, and an easy to read heads-up display. A lot of the tech found in the Sportster S, but at $5,000 cheaper, you might figure out a way to unlock the full power of the 1250cc that resides in the Pan America to put the numbers right on par with that of the Diavel. So where the first two examples came in at a cheaper price, they allowed for upgrading to put them on par with the Sportster S. The Sportster S is allowed the same privilege when comparing it to the Diavel. For me, honestly, I'd love to have any of these motorcycles. One can't base their purchase on this comparison, and you really need to go out and test them for yourself to find out what is the best fit. Once again, I do hope you enjoy this paper comparison of the Sportster S. I do value the feedback of my viewers and subscribers, and this is what inspired me to make this video with the choices that you, the viewer, commented on. If there's anything else you'd like to see it compared to, drop a comment down below. And as always, I will catch you on the next dark side, as this is the way. Sharper Fett, see you in the next one. Later!